Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are continuing our exploration of some truly fascinating source material.
We really are. It's a great one today.
Yeah. So I want you to picture this. You are standing on the edge of a concrete lot. It's the dead of night.
Right?
Your ears are just ringing from the roar of these highly tuned engines, and that unmistakable, that acrid smell of burnt rubber is hanging super thick in the air.
A whole sensory overload.
Exactly. It is loud, it is completely chaotic, and honestly, it is the absolute last place you would ever expect to find a really profound, quiet moment of true love.
Oh, absolutely.
But that is exactly what we are looking at today. We are pulling excerpts from a specific short story called Burnt Rubber and Butterflies.
Such a great title.
It is, and this is part of the collection Whispers of the Shape of Love by author Abdullah El Khalifa.
Right. And we also have the author's overarching notes on the intention behind the entire book, which is so helpful.
It really is. So, our mission today is to figure out this magnificent paradox. How does a book dedicated to the quiet, unspoken moments of romance use a wildly loud, underground street racing scene to prove its point?
It's a massive contradiction.
Right. How does it prove that true connection isn't about grand speeches, but about finding someone who just matches your exact speed?
Okay, let's unpack this because I find this setup so incredibly compelling.
Me too.
It feels like a total contradiction on its face, and I really want to look at how the author pulls this off.
Well, it's a brilliant structural choice by Al Khalifa. I
Yeah.
mean, when you encounter a romance set in the underground racing world, you are totally primed to expect a certain level of, well, of superficial adrenaline.
Yeah, the tropes.
Exactly. You anticipate the flashy cars, the cheering crowds, the whole bravado of it all, and all of that is actually present in the text.
It's very vivid.
But the author uses that extreme volume as a misdirection. We're going to look past that smoke and adrenaline today to find the vulnerability hiding underneath.
The author establishes this totally deafening environment, specifically to show us what it takes to cut through the noise of modern life. To find an authentic, silent understanding with another person.
I love that. So let's meet the two characters anchoring this dynamic, Mark and Rima. Because the contrast between them is what drives this entire narrative.
Oh, totally. They are polar opposites.
First, we have Mark. He is the undisputed star of the underground racing circuit. He drives a sleek, black Nissan 370Z, and he basically seems entirely defined by his external performance.
He is a total showman.
100%.
Yeah.
He thrives on the aroma of burnt tires. He loves the thrill of late-night street races. He has this charming grin. He blasts a raucous playlist during every single competition.
And he has that crazy parking trick.
Yes, the absurd ability to parallel park at 100 kilometers per hour while winking at the spectators.
Just showing off.
Totally showing off. He is a showman whose whole identity is tied to the applause of the crowd. And then, on the other hand, we have Rima. Rima is the grounding wire to Mark's high-voltage persona. She really is. She is a mechanic's daughter who practically grew up covered in motor oil.
Yeah, the text notes, she could name car parts before she could even recite the alphabet.
Exactly. She is entirely unfazed by the flashiness of the racing scene. And she is definitively not interested in boys with inflated egos.
No temper at all.
None. She operates in the reality of torque and grease, whereas the crowd operates in the fantasy of the spectacle.
That's a great way to put it.
She sees right through the performance that everyone else is just cheering for, which makes her a completely different type of audience, or rather, someone who just refuses to be an audience member at all.
And that refusal sets up the inciting incident perfectly. So Mark rolls his beloved Nissan into her dad's garage. He's got a clinking front axle, he's flashing his famous smile, and he looks at her and says, "I need a miracle."
Classic Mark.
Right. And if this were a standard genre trope, the mechanic swoons here. But Rima doesn't even look up from under the hood. She just casually replies, "You need a brain first."
It's so good.
It is incredibly dismissive, and it completely disrupts his usual rhythm.
What's fascinating here is how Rima's total refusal to be charmed is actually the catalyst.
Yeah.
It's what creates the space for a real connection.
How so?
Well, think about Mark's psychology in this moment. He's completely accustomed to forcing admiration from people through his driving and his charisma. He just expects his persona to do the heavy lifting in all his social interactions.
He just smiles and people melt.
Exactly. But Rima demands substance. By shutting down his ego so bluntly, she essentially forces him to step out of his character.
Oh, I see.
And this perfectly aligns with Abdullah Al Khalifa's underlying philosophy for the entire book. This idea that true connection is felt, not forced.
Felt, not forced. That's a powerful line.
It is. If Mark wants her attention, he has to earn it in a way that goes way beyond the superficial roar of an engine. He can't perform for her. He has to actually be present with her.
And you see him immediately having to recalibrate his entire approach to the world after that.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do.
He keeps returning to the garage. Sometimes he has legitimate car troubles, but other times he's just clearly using flimsy excuses just to see her.
Just lingering around.
Yeah. Eventually, the tension builds up, and he invites her out to watch a race. He promises to keep it clean. Rima rolls her eyes, of course, but she does show up.
But she doesn't dress the part.
Not at all. She arrives completely defiant. She's wearing a hoodie and boots, arms crossed. She is refusing to play the part of the adoring fangirl on the sideline.
Which naturally pushes Mark into overdrive.
Oh, definitely.
He races like a man possessed. He pulls off this highly dangerous mid-race drift around a rival's car just to amuse her.
Showing off again?
Right, because he is trying to speak to her in the only language he currently knows, which is high-speed spectacle. He is still trying to translate his worth through his performance.
And when he wins, she just offers this faint smirk and mutters, "I've seen better."
It drives him crazy.
It really does. Mark takes the bait immediately and challenges her to prove it. And this is where the narrative shifts gears entirely.
The best scene.
Rima borrows her cousin's car. She steps onto the lot and challenges the undisputed king of the underground to a drift duel. The crowd goes completely silent.
They can't believe it.
The author describes her driving like a comet with lipstick on, just executing these flawless slides. Mark is in such awe watching her that he nearly crashes trying to keep pace.
He's distracted by her skill.
Exactly. And ultimately, she beats him by a hair.
It is such a stunning visual, and it's a massive power shift in the story. She steps right into his domain and completely dismantles his hierarchy on her own terms.
Right on his home turf.
Right. But more importantly, she forces him into a flow state. When you are drifting a car at those speeds side by side like that, there is zero room for ego or posturing.
You have to be totally locked in.
You are entirely in the present moment.
Yeah.
You are reacting to the physics of the vehicle and the movements of the driver next to you. By engaging him in this duel, she strips away his audience and makes it just about the two of them operating on the exact same frequency.
The aftermath of that race captures that shift so perfectly. Mark steps out of his car, he shakes his head, flashes his grin, and just says two words to her. "Marry me."
And her response is iconic.
Rima laughs and fires back. "Fix your axle first, Romeo."
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this sequence is the beating heart of what Al Khalifa is trying to communicate about the nature of intimacy.
Well, unpack that a bit for us.
Well, the author believes that love exists, and I'm actually looking at the source notes here, in the space between two people who simply understand each other without needing to explain.
Wow.
For Mark and Rima, drifting side by side on that concrete lot, that is that space.
The track is their space.
Yes, the sensory experience of the roaring engines and the screeching tires, it's deafening to the crowd. But their emotional communication in that moment is completely unspoken and deeply understood. They revealed a shared language of adrenaline and precision.
They just bypassed the traditional getting to know you phase entirely.
Yeah, no awkward small talk.
They didn't need to sit in a quiet coffee shop and bare their souls to each other. They just needed to burn some rubber to realize they processed the world the exact same way.
Right.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because the story doesn't end with them just riding off into a serene sunset.
Not at all.
The author gives us a really clear glimpse into the day-to-day reality of their relationship, and it is beautifully chaotic.
It's a lot.
It is. They become this beloved, volatile couple of the underground scene. They race against each other. They quarrel constantly. They reconcile in parked cars at dawn. There is real friction there.
A ton of jealousy, too.
Yes, Mark gets fiercely jealous when guys compliment Rima's driving, and Rima gets super heated when girls try to touch Mark's car.
You know, to an outside observer, that dynamic might look like a textbook dysfunctional relationship.
It sounds a bit toxic on paper.
It does. You have two highly competitive individuals constantly clashing and maybe using high-speed adrenaline to mask their communication issues. A lot of readers might see those arguments and the jealousy as major red flags. But Al Khalifa makes a really brilliant distinction here about emotional bandwidth. The author includes this chaos to ground the romance in reality. Finding someone who matches your speed doesn't mean you magically achieve a state of permanent, placid zen.
You don't just become different people.
Exactly. It means that when you do clash, you are crashing at the same velocity. Their individual intensities don't diminish just because they are together. They are highly passionate people, so naturally their relationship produces fireworks.
And the way they navigate those fireworks is so fascinating. Their conflict resolution strategy isn't about sitting down for long, dramatic conversations to process their feelings.
No couples therapy here.
Right. Instead, they go to a parking lot and do donuts, or they drift side by side until the sheer joy of the drive dissolves whatever they were angry about in the first place.
It's physical.
It is a totally kinesthetic processing of emotion. It's action over words, time and time again.
Because for them, words are often just another form of noise. When you are that deeply connected to someone, over-explaining your feelings can actually create distance.
That's a really interesting point.
The physical act of driving together forces them back into that shared flow state where all their egos drop away. It reestablishes their baseline of mutual understanding without requiring them to articulate it perfectly.
Which is what makes the ultimate proof of their bond so much more impactful. It isn't a grand public gesture at all.
It's so small.
It's literally just a note Rima leaves in his glove box before a major race. And it reads, "If you lose, you're sleeping on the couch. If you win, you're still sleeping on the couch, but I'll make you pancakes."
I love that note.
It's so good. And he ends up losing the race, but she still makes the pancakes anyway.
That note is just a masterpiece of psychological character writing.
Oh, right.
And it perfectly anchors the broader themes of the book.
How so?
Well, think about it. Up until this point, almost everything we've seen them do has been public. The races, the arguments, doing donuts in the parking lot, it's all part of their loud underground persona.
They're always performing for the crowd, even a little bit.
Right. But this note is pure private vulnerability. It completely reflects Al Khalifa's theme that love changes us softly. Let's just break down the psychology of the pancake rule for a second.
Let's do it.
She maintains her tough exterior by insisting he's on the couch regardless of the outcome.
Keeping up her guard.
Yes, but she offers a gesture of care, the pancakes, which seems conditional on his victory.
Yet, when he loses, she makes them anyway. She completely ignores her own condition.
And that is the crux of the entire narrative. We have to remember that Mark's entire identity before he met Rima was built entirely on winning,
Being the best.
on securing the cheers,
Oh.
and being the invincible king of the drift. His whole life has been an exercise in conditional love and conditional worth.
If he wins, he's loved. If he loses, he's nothing.
Exactly. Rima is telling him through the incredibly simple act of making breakfast after a loss that he doesn't have to perform for her.
Wow.
He doesn't have to win to be worthy of her care. She completely decouples his self-worth from his achievements on the track.
It's the profound vulnerability of letting someone see you fail and realizing you are still completely safe with them.
Precisely. The grand gestures and the flawless drifts are how they communicate their passion. But the quiet act of making pancakes when his ego is totally bruised is the true unspoken bond.
It's the quiet moment.
Yes, it proves that behind the dramatic, high RPM exterior of their relationship, there is a very soft, highly secure foundation. True intimacy requires the dismantling of the performance we put on for the rest of the world.
So what does this all mean when we zoom out to the full text? How does Burt Rubber and Butterflies act as a Rosetta Stone for the rest of Abdullah Al Khalifa's collection?
It's a great question.
The overarching title is Whispers of the Shape of Love, and the author notes give us some specific context on how to interpret these varying narratives, right?
Yeah, the author's notes are incredibly revealing about his intent here. Al Khalifa states outright, and this is a quote, "Some books aren't written to impress. They're written to understand."
That shifts the whole perspective.
It really does. This entire collection, which you can find on Amazon Kindle, by the way, is an exploration of the moments we don't always talk about, but deeply feel.
The quiet things.
The core philosophy is that love doesn't inherently live in dramatic declarations. Sometimes it exists in silence, in shared presence, in the complete absence of demands.
Like making pancakes after a loss.
Exactly. The moral of Mark and Rima's story is that finding someone who can match your speed and still make you laugh through the skid marks is Al Khalifa's definition of a love that lingers.
A love that lingers.
It's a love that waits and a love that softly changes who you are at your core without ever requiring you to become someone else.
It is a beautiful paradox to consider. I mean,
Yeah.
the title is literally Whispers of the Shape of Love. And yet, to explore this concept of whispering, the author throws us into the absolute loudest possible backdrop.
A literal loudest.
Revving engines, screeching brakes, roaring crowds. But it works. It works because it proves that quietness in love isn't actually about decibel levels at all.
No, it emphasizes that the quietness Al-Khalifa is writing about is an internal state.
And internal state.
It is the lack of internal anxiety. It is the profound relief of not needing to over-explain yourself or constantly justify your existence to your partner.
We really do live in a world that is incredibly loud. It's constantly demanding our attention, our output, and just our constant self-translation.
Exactly. And Mark and Rima's physical environment is deafening, but their shared understanding is perfectly silent. When she drifts alongside him, or when she leaves that little note in the glove box, she is speaking a language that just bypasses the noise of the crowd entirely.
It's just for them.
By placing this unspoken connection in the middle of a literal roaring racetrack, the author highlights the contrast beautifully. The noise of the world just fades away when you find the person whose internal frequency inherently matches yours.
The noise of the world fades away. That really brings this journey full circle. We started with the smell of burnt rubber and the fragile ego of an underground racing star.
A lot of ego.
A lot of ego. And we ended up in a quiet kitchen with a plate of pancakes after a tough loss. It captures the essence of those unspoken bonds and that deep, foundational understanding that we are all ultimately searching for.
It really does.
It's a very loud story with a profoundly quiet heart. If this kind of narrative resonates with you, if you are drawn to stories that feel honest, reflective, and are driven by emotional truths hiding in unexpected places, the full collection, Whispers of the Shape of Love by Abdullah Al-Khalifa, is available to explore at your own pace.
Highly recommended.
The way the author examines these themes across completely different settings is just a masterclass in showing how connection transcends our external circumstances.
This raises an important question, though, and it's something I really want you to take away and chew on after you finish listening today.
Oh, I like this.
We've spent all this time analyzing Mark and Rima's unspoken language of precision driving and shared adrenaline. I want you to look at your own life and the people you hold closest. If your deepest emotional connection couldn't be spoken aloud, if you were completely forbidden from using words to say I love you or I understand you, and you had to express it purely through a shared action, what would that action be?
That's a tough one.
And perhaps more importantly, what does that specific unspoken language reveal about the parts of yourself that you usually keep hidden from the rest of the world?
What is your version of doing donuts in a parking lot at dawn? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking for those quiet whispers of connection in your own chaotic lives, and we will catch you next time.